Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football late Tuesday night, but some massive news for the Texas A&M Aggies. And this is a piece of news that I think largely to a lot of college football fans probably flies under the radar, but for the Texas A&M fans that follow the recruiting trail, they know this is a big one. The Florida Gator fans who follow the recruiting trail, they know this is a big loss for them. Going out and getting Director of Scouting and Recruiting Relations, Joe Hamilton, is a massive get for Mike Elko. And you take a look and just you take a step back and look at what Mike Elko has done, not only from a personnel standpoint, exceeding in the transfer portal, getting the high school recruiting going, but also building the staff around him. And it goes farther beyond than just bringing in on-field coaches, right? Colin Klein, we just did a breakdown of the Colin Klein offense. Massive fan of him coming in as the offensive coordinator. But you look at the weight room, going out and getting probably one of the better strength and conditioning coaches in Tommy Moffitt, and then going out and getting one of the better scouting and personnel players in this game, Joe Hamilton from the Florida Gators. There's a lot of credit that goes to Joe Hamilton keeping DJ Lagway committed to this Florida Gators class. For the fans that follow the recruiting trail, this is a massive one. Joe Hamilton is from Texas, has strong ties in that Houston and Dallas area. Want to get into Joe Hamilton, talk a little bit about what he did for the Florida Gators, and then the asset he's going to be in College Station. Before we get into it, just want to say thank you to you guys and a massive shout out to the Texas A&M fans. This has been a program we've been talking a ton about on the recruiting trail, in the transfer portal. It's only fitting that we talk a little bit about the personnel that goes behind the recruiting and the talent acquisition game. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, can't thank the Texas A&M fans enough for all the support. It's been a program the boys love talking about. And without further ado, let's get into Joe Hamilton. And I want to start with the job that Joe Hamilton did with the Florida Gators. And that's a program that even the Florida Gator fans know was struggling to win games on the field. But nothing. The one thing that didn't really lack was the recruiting and the talent acquisition that you saw Billy Napier and the Florida Gators get done at Florida. Joe Hamilton credited with a really, really strong recruiting effort during his time at the Florida Gators. And this goes back to even his time at Louisiana with Billy Napier, where Louisiana brought in 3 straight years of the #1 recruiting class in the Sun Belt. This is a position that, again, is not necessarily the flashy offensive coordinator hire. It's not the flashy commitment out of the recruiting trail. But it's one of those jobs that is increasingly becoming way more important at the college football level. You look at how crazy the talent acquisition game is, not only recruiting high school classes, but then recruiting out of the transfer portal, recruiting your own players on this roster, constructing a roster that is healthy and deep. These are all responsibilities in a changing world of college football. You're seeing more general managers and director of personnel. Those positions are, one, being much more coveted over the last couple of years, but more importantly, they're becoming a much more integral part of a college football program. I think Mike Elko certainly understands that, and bringing Joe Hamilton to College Station, absolutely massive. Now, what does he bring to Texas A&M? I think what's most special is, in my mind, this is a perfect fit. Joe Hamilton, he's from Texas, has a lot of relationships with the high schools in Houston and in Dallas. Those are 2 of the hotbeds that Texas A&M wants to get their talent out of from the high school level. And I think Joe Hamilton, quite frankly, did a phenomenal job at the Florida Gators. And if he can do the exact same job he did at Florida at Texas A&M, Texas A&M fans should be happy. But more importantly, I think he can do an even better job because this is his home state. This is where he's most comfortable recruiting. Again, going back to DJ Lagway, there are quotes from DJ Lagway and his family saying, yeah, we probably wouldn't be in Gainesville if it wasn't for Joe Hamilton. That kind of gives you just a little bit of a sense of what Joe Hamilton can bring to the table on the recruiting trail. And as he constructs this roster, he's a relationship builder. The players love him. The coaches love him. I think this is a massive, massive get for the Texas A&M Aggies. And I mean, this is kind of a perfect start for Mike Elko and Texas A&M. Again, a very much growing part of a college football program. And anyone who follows college football relatively closely, that the talent acquisition game is kind of how you get your foot in the door. And in this era of college football, with everything that's going on, the transfer portal, the different recruiting rules that you see, it is vital to have guys that are good at what they do in terms of constructing rosters, identifying talent. That's probably one other thing that I would add is you oftentimes as college football fans, we normally hold the 24/7 sports rankings or the On3 rankings, wherever you get your rankings as kind of the gospel of recruiting rankings. When you have a good personnel department and a good scouting department, those lists might look a little bit different. We just saw the Michigan Wolverines, a team that does not recruit in the top 10 pretty much exclusively, just go out and win a national championship because they had a very good scouting department. They identified the guys at the high school level that fit their culture, that fit what they want to do. Having a strong scouting department is absolutely massive, and Joe Hamilton is going to bring that to this Texas A&M program. I think this is, again, a piece of news that probably flies under the radar for a lot of college football fans, but for the recruiting nerds like ourselves, this is massive for Texas A&M. Mike Elko doing a phenomenal job. You look at the staff, guys like Tommy Moffitt in the weight room, Joe Hamilton in the personnel department, Mike Elko, I think, crushing his first 2 months in College Station. Wanted to hop on, update you guys on that one. Appreciate y'all rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.